Good evening, everybody. We are live. Hello, it's Sunday night, and you know what that means. It's time for another session episode of Like Clockwork. So we're all here. We're going to get moving on that very shortly. Before we do that, just want to get all of our various and sundry announcements and the like out of the way. Is there echoes? What's going on? I'm being told there's echoes. Echo. It's Panabon.
It is?
It is. I can hear the echo.
Push the talk, John.
Yep. It's fixed now. It's fixed now. It's fixed now. Yay. Is it fixed now? Chat, tell us if it's fixed now. I've been told it's fixed now.
If you keep repeating it won't be fixed because you'll make your own echo.
Is it fixed now? Is it fixed now? Is that better? Better? Yeah, like that? Okay. All right. So hello. All right. I'm gonna just burn that joke into the ground, right? So welcome everybody. It is, as I said, Sunday, and here we are. It's been a couple of weeks now since the Kickstarter, so we're almost recovered from that part of it in time to get swamped with the other next part of it. But everybody who did back should have received their backer surveys by now. I think, except for the people that
I'm writing literally right now.
Except for the people who back at the highest level, because those people, there's like way too much work involved in that. So
there's so many questions I have to ask you.
Yeah. So, but that's fine because we'll have to be working with a lot of folks one-on-one. But we're really excited. We're getting everything lettered. We're going to be doing sending a lot of stuff to printers and everything, and just start getting those packets ready to send to everybody, and make sure you all get it. Also, in good but also mildly terrifying news, Boban Slobodan Jovanovic is going to focus almost solely on Cosworth, so that it doesn't take a year and a half to get the next book out, so that we get the next book out in like 6 to 8 months.
Sick.
And so that's exciting, but also, like I said, it's a little terrifying. I think that we were thinking that we wouldn't be doing another Kickstarter for like a year or something. So the thought of having to do one again in less time is what we're going to do, because we want to get this content out to everybody. So with that, are there any other announcements from the cast right now? No announcements from the cast.
I just like to
very
say
good.
Your announcement, Danny, has added to my stress levels. It's all good stuff, but like I'm literally typing up the last of the survey, and Danny's like, "Let's talk about the next Kickstarter," and I'm like, "I'm gonna cry."
So, as we expand, I mean, we're bringing on more people. Sarah is definitely delegating a lot more of the work that she has been doing almost solely by herself, because she's been a machine. But I think in 8 months we should have like a Kickstarter coordinator, right? Yeah. So
we'll find
one in 8 months. All right. So with that, everybody, why don't we go ahead and get into the game, because it's time. Hey everybody, we are back and ready to jump on in. When we last left off, of course, everyone had gotten onto their camels and proceeded with the caravan out into the desert of Ishan. The travel wasn't too difficult. Everyone got assigned to a sort of a different camel train because the caravan's 100 camels, and then each of the trains is kind of like its own merchant or business. And so each of the guards was kind of assigned along the train. And at night they would gather together. They would pull watch. There were some discussions, some talks, and you know, a few people got to know each other better. A few people got to ignore each other as they have been. Good times all around. And on I want to say the third day in the morning, they got traveling again. And then about mid-afternoon, there was an outcry of sorts from somewhere in the middle of the wagon train. And that cry was in the trains between, I want to say, Aegis and Leah, Rosalia. And I am going to get us going. That is where we are picking up right now. So we are in sort of the rocky part of the desert. So on this map, Rosalia is near the right side of the map because she's in the back of this particular part of the train, and close to the front is where we are going to find Aegis. I am placing their tokens near their camels. So the disturbance is happening here. All right. So as you were walking and kind of sort of enjoying the company of your travel companions in these particular trains, the companionable silence of Nakasala with Aegis, and the interest that where'd that go? Why is that not going on my map? There you go. All right, great. And the interest with which Farkem Kusamev has had with Rosalia being an elf and kind of, you know, discussing, hey, what's that about? You are interrupted by the scream of a camel. Here, it's the one that I've outlined, as it suddenly kind of screams and it doesn't quite rear. Camels don't necessarily rear, especially with all the weight on its back. But then it just kind of breaks out of the line and tries to run up in this direction.
I don't know if I can go on without knowing what the camel scream sounds like. Could you expound on that a little?
Yeah, we're curious.
Do you want to hear what the camel scream sounds like? All right, you're gonna have to. If chat will bear with me, I will try to give you the sound of the camel scream, but I gotta brief myself a little bit, right? So,
you didn't
there's
research this ahead of time?
Hey, look you. All right,
Camel screaming. Come on,
hold on. It's gonna be a couple seconds. Let's see.
That's why we're filling it with comedy.
That's why we're trying to fill it with comedy.
It doesn't come from your mouth. I don't want to
hear that trying.
Hold on.
If it doesn't come from your mouth, I don't like it.
It goes. It doesn't really scream, I guess. It's like. like that, right?
Acceptable.
Yeah. So to brush up on my method acting for the camel, I just needed to go ahead and refer back to the infamous scene where Conan punches the camel
Right.
in Conan the Destroyer. And so, I figured that's camel scream, right? Cool.
Yeah.
So, it's a brilliant movie, Conan the Destroyer. Watch it. It's horrible, but you'll like it.
So where are Shay and I? Because we're about in the middle of the pack, right?
Right. So the thing is that you guys are definitely off camera a bit. So what we're going to do is I am going to place you on the edge of the map, but I'm going to place a little marker that indicates how far off the map you are. So that is going to be Shay and Panabon first, Lachlan as well. So here's a Lachlan, here's a Panabon. I'll have to change that Panabon to daytime Panabon. Here's Shayloon. And then we, of course, have Perunia. All right, so Shay and Panabon, you are about maybe 30 feet off the map. So you're definitely the closest. So Shay and Panabon, 30 feet will get you to the edge of the map. Oh, that says 35, but I'll fix that in a moment. Next is Lox, who is going to be about 50 feet off the map. Cool. And finally, Perunia, you are about 80 feet off the map. I'll put you down here. So as you are moving, if, depending on how it works, you'll need to close that gap. But other than that, we can act.
No
Can I
wonder.
ask a question? Sorry. Go ahead.
No wonder the camel got attacked. Look how far from the caravan it is.
The caravan is very long. Very long.
Like hanging out in some rocks and crap while everyone else.
Well, no, it just ran into those rocks just now. Whatever happened to it a little closer to the caravan.
I see.
Yeah, it got scared.
Yeah. So now it's running up this way. So you kind of hear a couple of shouts, everybody, so everyone can kind of focus and engage in the middle there. But what are Rosalia? Go ahead.
Are we, for those who aren't on the map, are we on our, I assume we're staying on our camels. So what's the camel movement speed, I guess?
The camel movement speed, everybody.
Good question.
The camel movement speed is, for everybody that wants to know, 50 feet. So that means a dash is another 50 feet. So, if you hurry your camels there, it's hard to know if it's an emergency just yet, but, we will probably figure it out shortly. You hear this, Aegis and Rosalia, what is your response?
Leah, after you.
Rosalia doesn't have much use for these beings that are called camels that spit at people. So she
Damage.
she leaves her camel. Leaves it with the people in her caravan and goes over to the pitiful beast that is sitting there lost on the rocks to figure out what's going on. She's looking to the left, to the right, above and below to see if there's any snakes or any arrows that might have hit the camel, but really she just feels sorry for the poor thing because it's not too intelligent. So that's what Rosalia is doing.
Okay, so yeah, Rosalia moves up with her camel up to here. As you do, go ahead and make a perception test.
Nope.
First die roll of the night.
Oh, two. Lovely.
Okay, so yeah, you keep pushing the camel over in this direction as Farkame comes up behind on his camel. And now I need everyone to go ahead and just give me an initiative roll.
Ooh, not great. Not even good.
Yeah, no.
I've been on edge for days waiting for this.
It's so funny. Mine was like about to be a 14, 15, and just 4.
All right.
Do I get an initial reaction turn though, Dan?
Yeah. So I mean, what were you doing in that initial little bit?
I turn to the my companion and I go, "That is the worst thing I have ever heard. What is going on back there?" And I turn around and I will approach the area as well.
Okay.
Is somebody dying?
I hope not.
Okay. As Farkame passes by, this his camel. Camel's not being the most dexterous or avoidy of creatures. Avoidy, is that a word? It is today.
Put on a world anvil now.
Dedomancy is a word.
Yep.
Okay, so this camel is going to take some damage and needs to make a DC 10 Constitution saving throw. The camel that Farkame is riding suddenly does a kind of like lifts its foot as it's passing almost the same place where the original camel was. And then it turns and just like, and just spits this gob of spit over onto the ground there. And
is that an attack?
That's just what the camel does. It's not really an attack so much as it is just the thing that it did.
Yeah, that's fair.
So with that,
oh, do I need to move my character myself?
Not well. Yes, if that's what you were doing.
Yeah, I was going to head towards that way as well.
Yeah, so just kind of you lope over there about 25 feet or so before this begins. All right, so that is what happens. But then again, that's 2 and camel. Come on, camel. Don't die. It'll be sad. Camels weren't part of that deal, were they?
No. It was specifically people. No one.
People.
Spare the dying. Spare the dying. Spare the dying. Spare the dying. Spare the dying.
Not that I won't try to save the camel, but it's not a part of the deal.
Okay, so Shay, you hear some sort of ruckus going on behind, maybe about 30, 60 feet. You kind of heard the screaming of the camel, very strange and apparently horrifying sound that, according to Aegis, I thought it was an all right sound, but
we're only about 30 feet away from
the edge of the map.
Gotcha. And then another, is that 30 feet? Yeah, ish to the camel? Or
to where Aegis was, to where Aegis's camel was.
Well, Panabon and I think, are sharing a camel.
You are.
And I would like to imagine that Panabon is driving because that way I can be focused on my book and and tinkering and doing things with my brain. So I think I'm not going to move the camel because
that would be Panabon's turn.
Right. So let's see.
Since we're sharing camel, is there a way to do a little talk between us here, or would you prefer not to do that?
You can during initiative, if you're able to talk to somebody on any given person's turn, you can say a short sentence in
Okay.
character, right?
So,
Yeah.
Hannibal, we need to help. We don't even know if something's really wrong. So, we should check this out. And then I'm gonna, just because I'm me and I'm paranoid beyond all reason, I'm going to cast a hold action for a hold person. And if I see someone that is a threat, I'm releasing it on them.
Okay, that makes sense to me.
So I'm getting ready to say, my mouth is going, so that I can say nope when,
yes.
when it matters.
Understood. All right, so next up. All right, so we're going to roll. We're going to... Oh, I did not realize that. Let's do this. Okay.
That was a lot of ghost dice that I saw then, right then.
What? Nah, it wasn't that bad. Oops. All right, so the camel up here does suddenly, like, it kind of wheels over and then falls to the ground and nothing, Aegis? Got nothing? Okay.
It's not my turn.
Which
right.
camel does that? Which camel did that?
The original camel. I will put I'll put a mark on the camel.
Is anything on that camel?
Yeah,
can't tell yet.
there's some stuff, like merchant kind of stuff, you know.
Like merchant as in the person, or merchant as in their shit?
There's stuff. There's not a lot of people riding on the camels, so.
And that's my line, right?
There we go. What's that?
That's my line. That's the end of my line.
It's the line behind. It's the line behind you. All right, so I put some scratch marks on the camel so that you know which one it is. As this next one is going to make an attack.
This next one.
What is making attacks?
It's, you know, stop being in draw mode now.
Did you say how tall these rocks are, Danny? Do we have that information? Like, cause I know it's rocky sand, but how tall are they?
They're not super tall. It's just like rocky terrain mostly. So, like the tallest ones will be tall enough that you can't see over as a gnome, but not so much for humans. All right, here goes. And locks.
All right. So I look at, I hear some noise behind me. I don't know what it is. I look over to the middle-aged man, Till, who is in my line, and I say, I'm going to go check that out. Stay here and yell if you need me.
Okay.
And so I will ride the 30 feet that I need. And then as I'm approaching, sort of call out, hey, what's going on back there? And
all right.
Yep.
So that is going to reduce your distance from the, there we go, by 20 feet. So
Yep.
now you are down to 20 feet. So now you're 20 feet off the map. Yelling. If anyone wants to respond to that, they can.
Camel down, camel down. I'm just kidding.
All right.
We don't know what's going on.
Rosalia.
Right.
Yeah.
Is it back to me or is it
It is back to you. So it is your turn. You're on the camel. You see that Forgame is having a little bit of a difficulty dealing with something that seems to be spooking his camel now that's from the same spot. And as you look down there, you can actually see that there appears to be some form of poisonous snake. At least you think it's poisonous.
Yeah, so I see that there is a snake that's attacking the camels, and I want to get a good vantage point on it. I want to train a weapon on it, and I want to shoot to kill if possible.
Okay, so you are going to kind of move and turn. You've got a great vantage point because you are on a camel. So if you want to, perhaps you've got you want to throw one of your feathered blades at it.
So let me throw the feathered blade at it.
All right, so you have targeted the snake, so go ahead and go onto your character sheet and do the attack for your feathered blade.
Cast.
There it goes. Yeah, that's a hit. So now go down and hit the damage, which is the.
Nope,
there you go.
attack damage.
Nope. Yeah, there you go. Wow. So you kind of slice into kind of near the rear part of it, and it almost cuts it in half. But it still is kind of slithering and hissing, so it doesn't look like it's actually dead yet. Why is this +5? Ranged, ability, stat, proficiency. Proficiency? Proficiency?
Seems legit to me.
Oh, I see what's going on. Got it. That makes more sense. That's better. All right,
Just
cool.
save the snake. We can roast it over a fire tonight.
Okie doke. So that was kind of your action. Do you want to move at all, or do you want to just kind of stay put where you're at?
I want to stay where I'm at. So if possible, I can attack again. I'm not afraid of it, but I do want to be in the area so I can do something if it tries to harm anything else or anyone else.
Okie dokie. Aegis.
I will just get a bit closer to the fallen camel, but not too close because I don't want my camel to be in danger if it is.
Okay.
Is that within visual distance?
Let's see. Yeah, if you get to about that point, you're definitely able to see that there is a snake there as well. That is bit the camel that has fallen, and looks like it's continuing to bite said camel.
Weird. So the movement of the camel is shared with my movement. So like,
no,
I couldn't, like...
if you are on the camel, you're using the camel's movement, which is 50 feet.
Okay, so I'll hop off.
Okay.
And I will walk over calmly. And
so that. Okay, you hop off. That uses up 15 feet of movement for you to dismount.
Which leaves me, what, 5 feet left?
I don't know.
Where's my speed? Oh, 30.
Your speed is 30. I was like, do you have something that makes you slower? No.
I mean,
so yeah, you can get up to it actually, right next to it if you want. But
yeah, I'll get up close to it. Pity. This is a pity, and I will try to take my mace, which I never ever use, and smash it.
Legit. So go ahead then and do a mace attack on the snake.
This is where we find out that's actually attached to a huge thing. And then I die.
Desert Roper.
Boop. Hey! In classic Aegis fashion.
Just comes and smacks that mace down and just kind of splats the sand aside as the snake kind of hovers back.
I wipe a smudge off my glasses because clearly that's what it was.
Clearly that's what it was. Perunia, there appears to be some sort of something happening.
Yeah, so Perunia can obviously hear people yelling and saw the camel go out.
Come here.
I now am worried about this being a distraction for a larger attack because I don't see people yet. So the first thing I'd like to do, Danny, is to roll perception to see if I can understand where the bad guys are coming from with the assumption that this is a distraction technique.
Sure.
Hope that helps me.
Looking over around the rocks and stuff, you don't notice anybody. You don't see anybody sneaking up. There doesn't seem to be anybody further out. I mean, someone could perhaps be like crouched behind some of the rocks, but you don't feel like you don't see anybody here currently. So.
Yeah, I don't feel comfortable leaving this whole front of the caravan unprotected, and I'm going to hold action, and if something comes near enough for me to take an action, I will.
Okay, sounds good. With that, we are now on to Panabon.
Yeah. Panabon's thinking about when he and Shay were on a train that got boarded at some point in their adventures, or like a stagecoach or something with some kind of mode of transportation, and they are suspicious that this is a trap. So I would actually like Panabon to do perception as well for like ne'er-do-wells in the rocks.
Okay. Go ahead and make that perception test then.
I perceive there are rocks.
There are rocks. There's a lot of rocks. There's some like dried vegetation and brush around the rocks, but there doesn't appear to be anybody around or near the rocks. And so with that, going back, well, actually, Farkame is going to turn his crossbow down at one of these snakes and try to kill it. He does have a crossbow, so he is attempting to shoot the snake with the crossbow. No, the camel is kind of moving to the side, and he's unable to get a clear aim, and he pops off the bolt, and it just buries itself in the sand next to said snake. All right. So with that, you see that the girl who does not speak has moved up to the snake that you tried to smash but didn't. And she reaches out and tries to like, you feel like she's trying to grab the snake. And then and the first time she like snaps out a hand, it kind of rears back, and then she rears back as it kind of tries to bite her, and then she manages to just grab it around the neck and pick it up. So she has grappled the snake.
I will not be trying that mood.
Yeah, that's snake grappling. Shayloon,
So
there's definitely something going on, but
Yeah, so I can't see from where we are because we haven't moved up or anything. What is going on? And my hold person is gone, so nothing
It's
has made
gone.
itself immediately evident.
Right.
So I think I'm actually going to use this turn to reach into my satchel and pull Minya out and go, if there's a threat, find it and let me know. And I'm just going to throw it as far as my little arm can throw it and have Minya roll and bounce through all of these stones in the area and see what it can find.
That's not something you see every day. A wizard just chucking their familiar like, go! All right. So with that, the little metal sort of the little metal gears and balls kind of flies out, and eventually it kind of pops onto the ground somewhere, and is maneuvering around. So
also, this gives me a great idea. As I watch Minya hurl through the air, I go, I wonder if I could concoct some kind of artifice thing that would allow him to fly. And that we're going to see, because I have plenty of time to build my little tinkers now.
I'm getting BB-8 vibes in this desert.
Can I whisper something to Shay? I'm still not
you
clear
can.
on
Like I said, on any person's given turn, you can say like a short sentence.
What's your whisper to Shay? What's your range on Sparkly Dart if it's needed?
I can't answer this in a Shay way that's going to be short enough for this, so I'm just going to start by saying, well, it's largely untested, but...
I can dig it. As with that, Fargame decides to hop off the camel and draw his short sword. He's still holding the heavy crossbow in his left hand, but he's now got his short sword out, and he is going to attempt to cut the snake up, which he does. He actually just hacks it down and cuts the snake right in half.
Nice. Insta-death.
His camel doesn't like it, though, and his camel is moving away. Let's see here. So now that snake is no longer. Lox, what's up? What are you doing?
No, has anyone answered me to tell me what's going on? No?
Are we? I mean, you said we can do it on the turn.
You can say something on anyone's turn.
You just hear me yell out, "It's snakes! It's snakes!" It's just snakes.
So Lox is like, oh, it's snakes. They got this. And he's going to turn himself back towards his line because he's supposed to protect it. He's ready to fight, but if it's only snakes, like, Aegis and Rosalia can handle it.
How are you going to feel if they both die?
They're not
terrible.
Well, I've yelled, so they can also yell at me. It's a two-way street. No, they can say or anything. You know what I mean? Like,
God.
Help!
Okay. As Rosalia, give me another perception test. As this bush, there is a snake in it. If you get the 10, then you notice it in time to be able to have a standard defense. You do. So it's not going to attack with advantage. It's just going to attack. So right at the last moment, you do notice that there's a snake in the brush there, and it strikes out at you. It hits. The bite itself only does 1 point of damage. However, the poison does infect into your leg. However, you do make the saving throw, so it only does half damage. So not too bad. This isn't one of those super duper venomous snakes. But yeah.
So more like a rattler than a king cobra.
Yeah, maybe something like that. All right, so just trying to think of like what snakes are like poisonous, but you don't really care if they bite you. It's not like spiders, huh? Because like a spider, like there's the poisonous ones, but then like the rest of the spiders, they are venomous, but they don't really. You get like a bump, right?
Rattlesnakes, you give it a couple hours. Cobras are like instant.
Right. All right. So, with that though, it is your turn, Rosalia.
Can I take out the poison?
I mean, it's not the kind of poison that is going to like continue to hurt you in this particular case. So yes, you can. But in terms of the mechanics of the game, it would be a waste of time. Let's say. So like, if you want to role play that, that's absolutely fine. But I just want to make sure that you kind of understand the game part of it, right? So,
Where did he bite? Where did the snake bite me? In my ankle?
just on the leg, yeah.
Yeah, so I pull a really iffy acrobatic and I bring my leg to my mouth and I spit the poison out.
Okay, so that is the action you're taking.
That's sick.
Do you want to move away from the snake?
Is it dead?
Well, no, that snake is still quite alive because it just bit you.
I'm wondering if there's something stronger in my arsenal I can use because it doesn't seem like the weapon that I used the last time really did anything towards this
Giant
snake.
mallet.
Right. Well, I mean, you did roll a 1 on the damage, which is. But
I mean, I don't want to talk it to death, so maybe I'll pull out my pack weapon.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So, what weapon do you form?
I form a ball of fire.
Okay. It's not fire in the sense of flaming blue or flaming like a fire when we think of it. It's formed from the magic of your patron, so it becomes this sort of short extension of like flickering blues and teals and golds, and yeah. So you have that kind of in hand. So on the next turn, you could try to like whip it out at something or what have you. All right, Aegis. She looks at you, and she looks at the snake, and then she kind of looks at where everyone else is, and then does like that.
I go, huh? Oh my! You are impressive. I will turn. Well, how do I want to use my action? I'll cast Spare the Dying on this camel, and I'll let the owner decide if they want to put it out of its misery or not. But the snake will not decide. So, Spare the Dying.
So we are protecting the camels now.
I mean, I know that he's cold, but he has a freaking heart. Okay. Rest at ease, beast. You do not die today, unless, of course, your owner decides so. So, I cast Spare the Dying on it. And then I'll follow wherever she's urging us to go.
Well, she's kind of pointing out that there's still more snakes over here.
Oh.
That was what that was, so.
Oh, okay. Then I'll use my movement to move over to just a little bit kind of down here.
Okay.
And that'll be my turn.
All right. Perunia, I imagine you're still kind of over there making sure that no one's attacking the caravan.
I heard snakes, and I'm like, all right, cool. It sounds like a you problem.
Okay, Panavon.
I'm listening to Shay kind of ramble, and I'm thinking, I've heard snakes as well, so I'm a little less concerned about being ambushed because that was my main concern.
Right.
And I say under my breath, if one of my daggers needs to fly that direction, so be it. But I'm keeping an eye kind of on the front because I'm in the middle, and I'm just thinking about like I don't really have anything. Like I don't want to go back and get involved because I'm on my line. I don't really know what I want to do here.
Nothing is also a perfectly suitable action.
Yeah. How are the acrobat kids like chomping at the bit to go back and see? Like how are the acrobat kids?
No, they're kind of looking back like snakes. You know, ooh, I'm glad that's not our line.
Yeah. So I'm just gonna go, snakes. It's the desert.
Aye. It is. Today, yesterday, and tomorrow again. All right. So with that, it is back to the top with the injured snake, who is going to try to take a chunk out of our game. We go snake bite.
Oof.
It bites. Oops. Yeah. It does kind of bite around his shin guard, and he kind of tries to pull his leg back, but it's a little bit late, and he just kind of, and then he curses. Shiny Draconic, you're not sure. Naka takes her snake over here, and then she throws it away towards further.
I like this Naka chick.
I mean, it's a snake. Like, Shay?
I'm kind of yeah, so I'm still explaining to Panavan. So I go, what did I say the first time? Well, it's largely untested, but so far I've been able to discover that it lasts at least between 60 to 100 feet, whereabouts, but I'm not sure if that's the max. Okay, and that's about my turn. But then, meanwhile,
waxing technical.
Yeah, while I'm like gripping around the camel's hump as my eyes go white and my eyeballs go into Minya, so I can see what Minya sees.
Okie doke. Rocks and sand. As Fargame curses again at the snake and cuts its head off with his short sword. Which brings us to the final battle between snake and elf.
It's the
Who will
final countdown. Sorry.
It lashes out again at Rosalia's foot, hitting her again. Very minimal damage. She makes the saving throw. So the poison is not going to really do that much to her. Most of it is probably expent already. So with that, what is Rosalia going to do? Like, it just stings. It's like a stinging bite. It doesn't even feel like poison, really.
Well, I look over at the girl and I see that she grabbed the snake and threw it. And then I look at the ball of fire, which I'm not sure if I threw it yet.
Nope, it's still in hand, and it's not like you're not going to throw it necessarily. You kind of can whip it out, and then it'll kind of be back in your hand. But you can't. It's not a ranged weapon. So
I look over at her and I think that was really cool. And then I look at my ball of fire and I think, do I want to do what she did? And then I reconsider, and I aim my ball of fire at the snake. I try to actually, I want to aim at the snake, but then I actually want to aim it at all the snakes if there's any more. But I'll hit this one first.
Right. So there's only the one snake left, really. The other two appear to be dead, and then the one that got thrown. So let's see here real quick.
The pack weapon?
I'll have to fix that. Yep, the second pack weapon. So that's a hit. So go ahead and do the damage for that second packed weapon, which now it says 1d4 bludgeoning in it. There you go. All right, so yeah, you just kind of like it smashes on top, and it does this combination of like crushing the snake as well as like you can see little radiant tendrils of that teal and gold and aqua kind of like smoking off of it for just a moment, and then the snake lies still. And that, everybody, is the story of how they vanquished the four snakes.
Wow. Really glad I didn't write down there for that.
Yeah, yeah. Also, I have guns and my camel would have ran, which is exactly why I was like, if it's only snakes, nope. When we get back, or when I get back to the line with Till, I want to, because he's traveled this road before as a merchant, right?
Mm-hmm.
So there's two things I really want to do. One, I want to just ask him if this caravan or caravans he's been on through here have been attacked by these poisonous snakes.
Oh, snakes! Yes, they're a problem. Mostly, you just got to keep away from rocks. Know what to look for. Look for their little hidey holes, and don't put your feet in any place where there might be a small outcropping. They love to. They sun themselves sometime, but then when it's very hot, they can go under the rocks for shade.
Mm-hmm. Also, yes. I want to, as I'm sort of looking out, I want to just make sure I don't see anything like weird in any of the lines ahead of us beyond just people stopping because people are yelling in the back.
Yeah, mostly folks are kind of stopping. After a few moments, you do see Aurelia is riding towards that part. Since there doesn't seem to be some sort of massive, raid, large-scale attack going on, she doesn't seem to be she's not like forcing the camel to run, but she has got it in a good trot. And eventually she arrives where everybody is. What is the matter here?
It's snakes. There are all kinds of snakes on this caravan. And I'm tired of
it. I see. And then she rides kind of closer and sees the ones that are dead and like, yes, it's a common pest. Looks like it's taken care of. How's that camel? Is it dead?
It is stabilized. I feel that it would be the choice of the owner to take it and bring it to health or not.
Well, do you have means to restore it to health?
I'm not a veterinarian. Whatever that means in this time, day and age, and world.
I am. Well, then, we don't have time to stay and allow it to recuperate. They'll have to leave it. And then she kind of turns her camel, and the two merchants are busy like trying to undo all the gear on the camel and put it to the other camels, as Aegis refuses to use actual healing magic upon the camel.
Give him an option. When you're looking in at what ice cream flavor you want, and then you see the one you like, and you kind of go, you hear Aegis say that, and I'll go and collect all the snakes for poison collection.
Okay.
All of them.
So
except the one that was thrown, right?
Yeah, the one that was thrown.
Anything that's like in a collectible condition.
Okay. All right. Hey, everybody, is everybody ready to see how much experience they got for snakes?
From the snakes.
Are you ready? Yes. You all get experience too because there is, something to be learned about not rushing to the back for just a couple of snakes, right? So here we go. Ready?
10.
4.
17 each. That's not
Wow.
bad. All right.
We're never going to hit level 4.
No,
Yeah. No.
Please
And
listen to them
the
complain.
are my eyeballs are still in Minya.
Yeah, it's sand, and there definitely isn't much out there. As Minya kind of rolls through, you do get a sense of like another creature underneath a rock somewhere, and just Minya kind of like, fuck that, and steers clear. But there doesn't appear to be any people or anybody getting ready to attack the caravan per se.
That's my girl. Okay. She's gonna come on back and bounce up to me on the camel. I'll catch her and put her away.
Okay. As that happens, the two twins are like, what was that? You threw that ball and now it has come back.
So Shay is also still mid-explanation to Panavan, and meanwhile, in her own head, she's like trying to explain the spirit of creature possessing this artifact is going to be real hard to do. So I think instead what I'm going to do is rely on child attention spans and keep explaining to Panavan, hold up a finger to them that like I'll explain in a minute when the adults are done talking, and then keep explaining extra long-winded to Panavan about sparkle darts and all the testing that I have done in terms of range and force and how strong or weak it can be, how long or short the range can be, and until nobody cares what I have to say.
Okay.
Panaban finishes with, because Panaban kind of is used to that. It's actually quite endearing. Panaban's like, well, if you want me to find some like random pieces of driftwood and make some targets for you so you can practice later. We are in the desert.
I actually would love to be able to practice more. I've been doing so much writing about what we've seen in the past several days, but part of the practice is actual practice, not just theorizing and thinking about it. So, and stretching your magical muscles, whatever that may be, whether it's in your brain or in your spirit or whatever this is, but being able to stretch and practice how far you can go, how hard you can hit, and so on. So that would be lovely. I'd love that.
Yeah, wonderful. Hey, kids, do you want to help blow some stuff up?
Like fireworks?
Kind of.
Yeah, we use fireworks sometimes in the shows before, so we know how to use them. Safety third. We know.
Sweet. It'll be fun. It'll be like a family outing.
Safety third.
Safety third.
It's a good motto. I appreciate that.
Yeah. So, with that, once they get the camels, all the gear off, a couple of other porters help. The caravan begins kind of rolling off again.
As we're kind of collecting ourselves in that area and picking up snakes, I just make eye contact with Rosalia real quick and just give like a nod of approval, and then walk back to my camel.
Yeah.
Wait, I need to know what Rosalia does to that.
I got snakes in my hand too. 10 snakes in my hands.
Don't. I don't want to metagame, but like if you keep the snakes and Panaban notices, they'll be like, "Are we having that for dinner?" Will be the follow-up question.
I look forward to that conversation, John.
Yes.
Leah.
So I feel like Leah is actually just role playing what Rosalia is doing in response to that. So I feel like we're good. We're good. Like that's exactly what she's doing. Just looking at him like. All right. So
I'm dying.
So we fall back into the rhythm once again. Naka kind of riding in companionable silence with Aegis and Rosalia with Fartgame. He's kind of rubbing his leg where the snake bit, and then he looks over and goes, "So, what is that? Magic.
Is the Dragonborn?
Yes, he's a Dragonborn.
Do you have magic where you come from with your people?
As much as any nation at this point in time, maybe a decade ago or so, magic returned to the land, appeared. Prior to that, we did not have magic, even though magic is supposedly an important part of our Dragonborn histories. That prior to arriving to this world, supposedly we had great and powerful wizards and priests that worshiped the gods and were able to then call upon their divine power to smite their enemies. But as I say, that's all legend. Here, there's been no magic until recently. The scholars don't know. Prior to the return of magic, it was thought that magic was just a myth, a story. There was no proof that magic was ever a real thing. Certainly, stories and myths and legends tell of great heroes, but those were embellishments. So, when magic did return, and return is what the scholars posit, it took everyone by surprise, and so now there has definitely been a race to study magic and to develop new magical techniques, but it's still, as a science, young, a new science.
So you feel that magic is a science?
Well, certainly the way that the scholars and the various learned magicians, they have books and they do research. They have formulas, they say. I have been told that there are those who can spontaneously call magic to being. I've not met a person like that before, except I don't see that you carry a tome. So I imagine that you also are able to somehow spontaneously cast this magic.
Yes, it's not mine. It's from a higher being. And I don't have complete control over it.
Oh. Interesting. Not yours. So the source is not you, but from outside of yourself.
Yes.
That's interesting.
But you have no magic whatsoever. So how do you defend yourself?
Well, if necessary, I can call forth some, well, let's just say that if I belch, that could be quite caustic upon enemies, but I can't do that often. It's like once, maybe twice in a day, before I have to, I guess, recharge. But other than that, I have a sword. I have a crossbow. They do me well enough. Magic is changing the world. That is true.
Well, I guess you're just as powerful maybe as the purple dragonborn over there. I don't know. I haven't seen you two try out a test of strength, but I will assume that you can protect the caravan as much as I can in your own way, hopefully.
Oh, yes, certainly. I would not place well odds upon myself in a bare-knuckle brawl with that dragonborn ahead. But if we were to be forced to fight with weapons, I'd like to think I'd hold my own.
Rosalia likes to talk fighting and any kind of fighting, and if she could, she would like to orchestrate a fight between the two dragonborn, but she realizes it's not productive to the caravan, so she tries to remain quiet about fighting while tapping her foot because she really wants to talk about fighting.
Okay. So you carry on. There's a little bit more conversation back and forth just about, elves and like what Rosalia is willing to say about where she's from. He talks about what Palacune is like up in the mountains and the big clean cities. But there's no more talk of whether Perunia or Farrakame would win in a fight. My Dragonborn can beat up your Dragonborn. So, meanwhile, way up in the front, the young man who is traveling with the woman and Perunia's, he kind of saunters over to Perunia's camel. So they said it was snakes?
That's what we heard. Yeah.
Is that going to be a problem that's going to happen again?
Well, we are already moving, so we can correctly probably assume that everything's fine. And if we came upon a nest, there would have been a couple of them. But as soon as we pass by the nest, there is always a chance that you see more snakes. But normally, unless you're disturbing a nest, you're not going to get, 5 or 6 on you at once. Maybe you have just one, and just one is not that big of a threat. I wouldn't worry about it too much, Dish.
Okay, good. The word is that they lost one of their camels, so that would be horrible for us to lose a camel. But thank you. I feel much assured. And he just kind of saunters back away as Nita just kind of looks at you and kind of gives you a half smile and a nod. Like thanks for making him feel better about life.
This is your first caravan for you two, right?
It is. Dish has lived a little more sheltered of a life than I have. So he's a little more excitable. No one else seemed to be too put out, so I've taken my cues, and if you're not worried, I'm not worried. I don't need to then console myself with words about why we should not be worried.
That's a fair point. I, too, am still getting used to a desert. I mean, my city is, all big buildings and mines, and the desert itself is still pretty new, though I've been on my share of caravans now.
I'm told there are mines deep in the center of the heart of the desert, where they extract items that really aren't of use to the Ashani, but are very valuable to traders from beyond the desert.
Is it like a substance?
Some sort of metal that apparently is great quantities here, but less so elsewhere.
I mean, my people mine for various different metals and gems. Well, that is curious.
Yeah, I can't. It's not something that I have paid much mind to. It's not really an interest of mine, but yes, it's. They have passed through our town, wagons and traders from time to time, and that's where they say they're coming from. Ooh, where? Yes, where are we from? That is, there's a small town. It's not, it's kind of out of the way along the mountains, south on this side of the pass. Zakta is the name of the town. Yeah, I doubt you've heard of it. Not many people have, but it is not on the on standard travel paths, if you will, being tucked into the foot of the mountains as it is.
Well, it seems like wherever you were from, Dish has not had many experiences with snakes.
With snakes, with other people, with camels, with a blade, um, with his own abilities. No, no, he doesn't.
Well, we'll try to keep him as protected as possible. Though sheltered, I'm not sure.
Well, it is good for him to get out. That is true. If you would like to make a history check for Perunia.
Oh, snap.
So, Perunia does know, having worked in the mines, there's a variety of precious metals. And then, of course, you have your copper, your silver, your gold, your platinum that is minted into coins or other precious objects. But there's a few certain alloys that are really important for like some of the newly kind of the new technology of electronics and lighting and stuff like that that are mined in Palacoon, but not to the extent that it is in demand, right? So obviously that none of that gets exported from Palacoon, and Palacoon actually has a little bit of an import on that. And if you recall, you're pretty sure that none of the northern empires have that in abundance. So you think that might be what she's talking about. So
seems expensive. I note that to myself and don't say anything about it to her.
So, in any case, Locks.
Yep.
As you're riding along, Till just kind of looks over. It's too bad they lost the camo back there.
Yeah, someone should have been a little bit more careful. You walk in the desert, you're bound to find snakes.
Do you, this is your first caravan in the desert, but in East Apanur, they have similar caravans, yes, with creature like our camels, the horse, you call it, yes?
Yes, and I cannot say that I'm very fond of these. And he taps the camel, these beasts, a burden. But they have their uses here. Where I'm from, caravans tend to be a bit more, let's just say, less organized. People tend to do more take care of themselves and who they're riding with, and it's just a group of different people riding together. Here, there's set watches and people are moving in between to protect it. Not quite where I'm from.
I see. That's interesting. And of course, the environment is not as unforgiving, I am told.
There's some craziness out in in the Highlands. But I mean, I also don't know here, so maybe we'll see after this journey, eh?
Yes. Well, so when we get to Sulam Oasis, which is the first stop, that is actually we're going to enter some craglands where there's so we'll hit a solid path of dunes for a day and a half of travel before it starts to break up again into craglands near the center, closer to the center of Ishan, and that is a place to watch for bandits. Less so in the dunes, more so in those rocks. So there are dangers that we have to be mindful of besides simply the heat and water. But
right, I've got a question for you then. These bandits that you say use these rocks to ambush caravans, are there any signs to really be looking out for them? In your experience, of course, as a well-known merchant.
Well, it's mostly important to keep your eyes open for various, well, of course, movement. Anytime you see anything moving, you want to make sure that that's something that is not a threat, right? But sometimes if you notice a track or something out of place, perhaps an overturned stone, perhaps there is a strange scratch upon the walls, anything that calls your attention and looks different from the surroundings, is often something that should be examined and made to just to be sure that there's nothing more to it, right? Bandits leave signs. They announce ambush points.
All right. I feel like I know someone who has probably dealt with people using signs to mark where they're gonna attack. So I might look into that. But there's nothing to worry. If, like I said before, there is ever anything that you need a gun for, remember, you can always yell and I'll come as fast as I can. But I'm also trying to make sure that my friends get there safely too. So,
well, as long as all of us get there safely, then
Exactly.
everyone should be happy. Just so. The caravan continues moving on. It stays at the same pace as before, with one less camel, and everybody now a little more vigilant for not so much bandits as other sorts of threats and dangers. Of course, as you were leaving that camel, there were definitely buzzards in the sky, sort of circling over, close enough to the mountains that they actually range out as far as you are. But yeah, it's the rest of the evening or the rest of the day's travel is fairly quiet and without incident. And we're going to take our 10 minutes and be back after the break to see what happens before they reach the oasis. Welcome back, everybody. Hope you had a moment to handle your business, get some popcorn, refill your drink, what have you. We all have, certainly, and let's get right back into it. As the evening approaches, the caravan boss, Norsum, she calls for a halt, and of course, you're kind of now entering into the dunes themselves, and as the halt is called, you notice that Ogelia kind of crawls up one of the dunes. It's, if you haven't seen dunes before, it looks a little bit comical. It's definitely a process because she's like on all fours, kind of like pulling herself up to the top. And then once she's at the top, it looks like she's, just kind of scanning in all directions. Hard to say what she's looking for necessarily. But Lachlan might know with a survival. Well, anyone could know it's a survival test.
Yeah, I will definitely roll that. I like survival. Nope, not today.
All right.
I'll try to survive.
I'm out of my element, you guys. I don't know.
Sure. Yeah, no, that's exactly what it is. It's like it's so different here that
Oh my god.
Nope, no survival for me either.
it's so different here that that you're not really catching it. Wow. Oh, that looked like a 2 on my screen until I saw the actual result. I was like, oh, 1, 1, 2.
Wait, did we get a gold earlier from
What the
from
heck?
We got the 11? Could I re-roll
Yep.
for survival, or is that?
Let that thing.
Shay Loon has a gold ready for when she needs it.
Yeah, get all those ones out now, guys. Jeez.
Yeah, that's that's not necessarily a bad thing. All right, so Yeah, she just kind of looks around and then she comes down and speaks with Norsum, and they call the caravan to kind of come together and set up camp for the evening. As this happens, Aegis, you notice that Father Game has just like the slightest of a limp. Most people probably wouldn't even be able to tell, but you kind of look for that sort of thing, and you know that he was involved with the great snake incident of 8 hours ago. So
You appear to be injured from the snake incident.
no, well, one of the little nippers did catch me on the end of my shin guard here, and he kind of points down. You see a little cut and like it's a little swollen, like a wasp or hornet, but it's no big deal.
If you do not mind, I can clean it for you. And as I'm taking my pack out, well, I'm swinging it over into the front of me to like take out stuff. I am Aegis Ing of Chai Tuating, and I am the healer of the caravan for this particular trip.
Oh, certainly, I suppose. And he finds, he kind of looks around and, should I just stand then?
Your balance is your business, my friend.
Yes, very good. And he does. He unbuckles the shin guard there, the metal plate that covers his shin, revealing his brassy, scaly leg for you to doctorate.
And I do. Medical roll?
Okay. Yeah, go ahead. Yeah, so with that, it's probably the scarf, chat, because it's green screen. All right, so here, maybe I could just do the whole thing, and then I can. There we go. Yeah, so you kind of clean it up. You actually do it. A lot of times when you're cleaning up someone's small cut or wound like that, it stings a bit or what have you. But you actually manage to do it in such a way that he really doesn't even notice. And as you're kind of cleaning the wound and bandaging it. So Chai Tua thing, that's the eastern nation in Denang.
Yes, the east wind of Denang.
Yes, east. Oh yes, they're called the winds. North wind, south wind, east and west. It's an interesting way to go about naming the nations of the empire. I wonder why they did it that way.
I imagine whoever decided on the names of the winds was very long-winded. That is a joke of Denang.
That's also canon now, so great.
Excellent. Perhaps in the future you give your audience just a few more seconds to let that land and process before you reveal that it was in jest.
Damn it, I'm a doctor, not a comedian.
Yes.
As you will.
Sorry, I'm on one tonight. Sorry.
So we're done then. It actually does feel a bit better. He kind of, he lifts his leg a little bit and kind of actually puts his hand on your shield, which you have like kind of dug into the ground to balance, as he kind of lifts his leg up and wiggles at the ankle and, stretches his calf muscle. That's pretty good. Well, thank you. I appreciate it. Mr. Dr. Ing. Very good. Yes.
Aegis is fine. If you have any other ailments, I am usually posted in the center of the caravan during the evenings.
Yeah, very good. Excellent. Good evening. And then he saunters off to whatever tasks he was sauntering off to do. As the last of the camel train kind of pulls in, you do notice the howdah that is upon one of the last 5 camels. As that camel is lowers itself to the ground, you notice that the door does open up, and out steps a middle-aged man, gray hair, a beard, quite cleanly trimmed, but looks like it's a little bit sparse on one side. And his brows are very thick and almost come completely together. And he kind of surveys the 2 guards. He says some sharp commands to them, and they nod and go set up the rest of the camp. And then you see the little gnome move up. They speak a little bit, and then the gnome kind of walks away and sort of heads towards the center of the camp.
Right. Seeing the gnome sort of go off on their own, I would like to ride. Well, probably I've hitched my. Do you hitch camels the same way?
They just drop and rest on the ground there.
Okay, so I do that and then go over to where this gnome is heading.
All right.
Yeah.
Approaching the gnome, you do see that this gnome is maybe a little bit taller than Panabon, but not much. He has golden eyes, very pale, a little bit of almost sort of a pink skin, but very pale, very lightly pink. It's not. It's if you had to kind of label it, golden eyes. He's got a blonde beard and mustache, and appears to be wearing a pilot's cap.
All right.
So I will.
So meta.
Give you that one.
Ooh, I'm excited to see it. Ooh, I like it. Thanks, Danny. All right.
Yep.
So
That cap though.
I go. Excuse me. You wouldn't happen to be Livid, would you?
Hello. Hi. Yes, I am. A Livid is actually the pronunciation. Livid, yes. It's so my parents used to josh with me that they were livid at what Livid would do. So that's how we remember how to pronounce it. Indeed. What can I do for you?
Well, Mr. Livid,
Yes.
I've been wanting to sort of meet you. I have some friends of mine who are also gnomes. And
yes, we get around certainly.
Well, no, we heard that there was another gnome on the train, and maybe we wanted to talk to you. I heard you're a good storyteller. Is that true?
I don't know that I'm a good storyteller, but I did have a good story. Yes. Oh. So, yes.
I'm new here, right? I would pay a pretty penny for a story about this oasis we're heading to. I don't know nothing about this area.
Oh, the oasis, huh? Well, I must say that I don't know as much about the oasis as one might think, but definitely, well, see, I am, as you can tell, a pilot of no small renown. I was traveling over the desert of Ishan. Ishan. Ishan is of the desert, yes. I was traveling over the Ishan desert, and, you see bandits upon the ground decided that they did not like us flying over, and they just shot us down, unfortunately. It was very unfortunate. The rest of the crew, unfortunately, also perished in that, but I was able to bring the ship down in such a way that I did survive. So silver linings, But you don't want to know all about that. What you do want to know is about
but I do. Oh, but I do. Your story is so enthralling. What happened next?
Well, I was stranded, but I did know where Sulam Oasis was from the air we had traveled, and you see the lake. It's actually quite large. So I started moving in that direction, and I saw something that caught my eye. Let me tell you. Now, mind you, I was quite fearful of bandits at this point because they had shot us down. I was hoping that they would, stay near the wreckage. There was smoking and the like, so I figured that's where they would pay the most attention and leave me to scupper off unmolested. So, yes, I saw what appeared to be a cave entrance in the rocks. Yes. And so I hid away because I did not want to get captured by these bandits. Who knows what they would have done to me? I'm only little. So, in any case. But the cave, it wasn't merely just like a cleft in the rock. It actually extended and descended, if you will. And so I followed it a little ways and eventually came to a wide open cavern, and there were structures within.
Structures? Like old buildings?
Oh, indeed, like a ruin. There was a large statue had fallen, quite large. I've never seen a statue that large, and various structures below. It looked like perhaps a small town or something, built of stone. It was unbelievable.
So Zivid, is it
yes,
Zivid?
Zivid.
Yeah.
Livid, yes.
Got it.
Yeah, so
I must confess that my riding companion on the caravan today was telling me that there was some miraculous things that was happening from your story. I would love to hear that part of the story myself.
Well, I mean, the whole thing seems miraculous to me, right? I mean, here I am, flying my ship. Well, I did not die. I found a ruin.
All right. I would like to roll in what is that? Insight. So, yep. To see if he's telling me the truth. I only speak the truth. Sorry. All right. Please.
Okay. He does seem to be leaving something out.
All right. Let me.
Otherwise, he seems very excited to tell you the story.
And I go, this is so enthralling. And here's the thing, and this is why I really wanted to speak to you, Zivid. You see, me and my companions, we are great at protecting stuff. That's why they hired us on this caravan, you see. And I'm saying if there were more bandits or some crazy stuff down there and you ever needed more help, because I know you got that human who you're leading around, is what it seems. Am I right?
Yes, I am contracted to Mr. Vigrij, if you will. That said, I'm not too concerned about bandits, actually, so we'll probably be fine on that account.
All right. What exactly are y'all trying to find, if you don't mind me asking, of course?
Well, Mr. Vigrij was quite interested to hear about a ruin. It's probably a grand scholarly find, and he did promise that they would put my name in the books, the discoverer of the ruin. But he did need to see it before he then would he would fund some sort of archaeological group or dig. So a week out, a week back seemed easy enough. I show him the ruins.
I see. Here's the thing
yes.
about that, though. If
Okay.
y'all are going to this ruins, and it's only the two of you going,
Well, no, he's got his men there. The two.
he's got the two
those two.
people that are there to
Yes.
protect him while he sits in his nice shaded area. I've noticed that. But what I'm interested in is sort of let's see. I got a feeling that you're not quite telling me everything that you know. And I'm trying to make friends, Mr. Zivid. Trying to make friends.
See, but
I also got a goal. And a friend who knows some scholarly people who can put in some good words for you. I'm lying, by the way, out of character.
I make a deception with advantage as he eyes the gold coin.
Oh.
Damn it, dice.
Yeah, this is not fun. It's fine. Let's play.
Well,
how about
see,
2 gold?
See, the thing is, what was your name again?
My name is Lachlan. It's nice to meet you.
Lachlan. Oh, very nice to meet you, Lachlan. Yes. So, Lachlan.
Yeah, you probably never heard of me.
No, I'm trying to think of something that rhymes that makes it easier to like remember exactly how to say it. It's quite an awkward name, isn't it?
It is. And what I would really like is if you just told me what it is this man is looking for. And then I can be on my way, you can be on your way. You don't have to worry about me anymore. Because I'm trying to figure out how to say this. Because I mean, you found this this ruins out there. What if I were to tell somebody else about it?
Well,
I will keep quiet if you just tell me what you're looking for down there.
Oh, well, I can't speak to what we're looking for. It's a ruin. But if you promise that this is gonna be between us,
my word, friend.
Then apparently Lachlan is not lawful anything. Okay. Well, okay. So what happened? What had happened was, you see, I did not go down. I don't know how I would have come back up. So as I went back to the edge of this of the cave entrance, I heard the bandits approaching, and I thought, oh, I'm done for. They're going to find me. What do I do? And then came the sound. It was this dark moaning that just bellowed out from the cave. I was quite horrified myself. It nearly knocked me over. But the bandits, they turned tail at that and they fled. And therefore, I was not discovered and survived, which I believe is a bit of a miracle. I don't know what it was that made that noise, but I'm sure it's just a trick of the rocks in the wind.
Perhaps, but my interest is more in what your human friend is saying that might be.
Oh, he agrees that the wind was probably blowing across the front of the cavern.
Except he's paying you to guide him there, which doesn't
an archaeological find. Yeah, it's the history of the Ishan. It's brilliant stuff.
So he has no idea what this is, and yet he wants you to show him. And when we, who are in the Oasis, pass, how are you guys planning to get back?
I'm certainly within some short amount of time. There will be a caravan coming back south the other way, at least. And Suam is a fairly large oasis, actually. It's almost a small town. But that said, go ahead and give me an insight check again. But yes, the supernatural aside, I mean, I'm certain that you know, there is definitely an interest in discovering if there might be some other reasoning. Perhaps it wasn't just simply a trick of the wind, but perhaps maybe some device within the ancients had created, or what have you. I don't know. All I know is that I'm being paid to take him there, and if he has some ulterior motive, he certainly hasn't shared it with me. I just show him
the roll was pretty bad, Danny.
Yeah, I saw.
But
So I'll just show him. I'll just show him where it is. I get paid, and then I'm off again to hire myself out.
Here's the thing, my friend.
Okay. Yes.
What if this is way bigger than he's letting on? What do you do then? What if this is the find of the century and you could be the most famous gnome across the land? Here's what I would say. This guy, and I don't know him, he seems like he's hiding something from you, or you're hiding something from me, and I think you're a friend, so I don't think you would do that, now would you?
I can't imagine he's hiding something from me, but what he isn't hiding from me, definitely, is the tidy finder's fee that he has offered once I show him the place. Also, and my name would be famous because he did say, he promised that I would be placed down as the one who discovered the ruins. So it's all cherries for me.
But that thing that you heard sounds like it could be way more than just some rocks. I'm going to be honest. I'm going to get out of your way very shortly. But what I do have to say is that if you were to not feel like he was being 100% with you, you can always find your friend Lox Lockley. And I'll see what I can do to make sure that we can get your name known all over the land.
That's very jealous of you, Mr. Lox Lockley. I will mull it over, certainly, but no promises.
I give him another gold and I say, thanks for the story, man. I love him.
Quite. Thank you. And good evening. And with that, he kind of trundles away. He gives you kind of a look back, you know, and then goes off to his business.
Gosh darn, didn't give me nothing good.
But I go back and I would share that with the people of my party.
Okay.
Lox Lachlan, you could not have been more creative with your name.
I roll my eyes.
Even Lampira is better than Lox Lachlan.
Just because I'm not going to make up
the camel.
I'm not going to just pull a name out of the thin air. What's wrong with my name?
Where did you learn to talk to gnomes at? You didn't even try very hard.
Sounds like you introduced yourself and you had a hiccup.
Maybe that's what it was. All right. I do want to tell everybody, like, I really got a bad feeling that whatever this dude is after in those ruins down there, they're keeping something from us. Now, and I look over at Shay. I know we don't want to get in other people's issues and problems, right? But you also want to know more about magic. And something's telling me there's magic down there.
Sarah's thinking, you son of a bitch. Shay is going from fearful to like her eyes get wide and like a little.
I look over at Shay, I notice the eyes, and I'm like, so, hey, Lachlan?
Yeah?
Have you ever been down in a mine before you send us down into a mine?
I've been in mines before.
I have, many times.
Great. So if we end up going there, we'll have someone that can get us out of said mine so we're not trapped underground for all eternity, right? Because if I'm trapped underground...
I've never been in a mine that had some magic in it. So, I mean, yes, we will find our ways out, I believe. But I can't make any promises because that would be a bold-faced lie, and I don't lie. Unless I'm lying. Then what?
I mean, I would feel guilty about leaving this caravan, but I look at Aegis. We're probably not even get paid anyway. So if worst comes to worst, I wouldn't mind ditching this caravan to go check it out.
I do not know how you came to that conclusion. With that being said, I am conflicted, for I wish to investigate this site with you, but I do have a responsibility to this caravan.
That's right. How about we just check it out while we're in the oasis, and we decide from there. I just
If
think
it's nothing,
if we
no
turn
harm
our
done.
backs on this guy, he's gonna disappear. Hands down, with whatever's down there. Something that's been probably undisturbed since the place was originally there. And we all know from these stories about magic that it was supposed to be a thing for the Dragonborn years and years ago, or some mumbo jumbo. I don't know if that's true, but if it is, if it holds any water, then this story could be something way bigger than just some ruins that I found.
I agree wholeheartedly.
I have a thought too. If and I look at Panabon, but still talk to loud enough for everyone, and I go, if it's really abandoned and no one else knows about it, and nothing's in there or whatever, but it's close enough to an oasis that has food and water, it could be a good place to hide where people couldn't find us.
Yeah.
Yes, there's definitely nothing that sounds scary or suspicious, and it'd be a great place to hide, Shay. We should go.
I don't like Danny's face.
Before we consider this, and I can't believe I'm saying this of all people. How long are we going to have at this oasis? Do we know how long the caravan is going to be at the oasis, or are we making a choice for the caravan?
I can discuss it with Norsum or our guard leader. I mean, knowing from our other caravans, it's normally and it depends on the caravan, but anyway, from a day to a week sometimes, depending on what they're doing.
Because I mean, the option is, if we want to be able to get in and get out, if I break a couple of camel kneecaps and we're kind of stranded there for a few days, it's always a possibility.
Okay, yes, that is absolutely something you would say. So stop it.
But I'm not doing it to a human or a gnome or a dragonborn. It's a camel.
I think your heart is in the right place.
I'm offering solutions.
Yeah, and I'm thankful. I'm always thankful that you talk through these things with us. In this situation though, handicapping camels, I don't think is a smart move.
It's a choice. It'll guarantee us passage to, what is it, Giolati? Giolati's the big town we're going to, or something like that?
Yep.
Yeah, Giolati.
Alternatively, we could hide somebody's goods and then they have to go look for it.
Huh.
Ooh.
I mean, if we're getting all the bad ideas out right now, I mean, I'm just...
Who would have something worth losing that would stop the entire caravan except the caravan leader?
We could make that happen.
And I start...
The face Danny is giving us right now.
I like sit down and I'm like... And I look over at Panabon and I go... What do you guys think? What do you guys think? And I look at Shay, especially.
Shay's just sitting there, like, wide-eyed, shaking her head. That, like, I was at university. I knew it was at university, and like I didn't know that people this stupid existed in the world.
That's what happens when you only attend university.
It's fair. It's fair.
The educated elite.
Yeah. So I
prefer the term vivacious, by the way. Vivacious.
Shayla, we can make sure that it's someplace that can be found in a day or two search. How about we say we could do that, right? Like 2 days, buy ourselves 2 days to look into this, see what's down there.
Perhaps before we jump to sabotage, we ask how long we will be at the oasis.
That's a great idea.
Fair.
Yeah.
And if it's any longer than a day, I mean, if it's any less than a day, then we can come back to this idea.
As soon as Aegis says that, like before the last syllable even comes out, Shay just pipes up and goes, "I'll do it!" Like, because I don't want you guys talking to them anymore.
Fair.
Maybe we go as a collective.
No, that'd be too suspicious. Even I know that.
I could just go and say, I just have a question. How long are we planning to stay at the Oasis? And then once we get the answer, maybe I could try to persuade for a little longer, and that way no sabotage or hurting innocent camels or any of your other terrible ideas will need to happen.
Insight check.
Sounds good.
I have a not terrible idea, actually. I have a, while you're finding out about how long with the Oasis, maybe we should ask about what we're walking into. Does anyone know anything about this Oasis? Should we maybe just find out how big it is when we say big lake, big Oasis? Like, how big are we talking? Pelican big or?
Rosalia and I haven't been down this way to Jaludi before, so
some of the travelers may have been before. We could talk to some of the travelers. The other thing is too, I mean, if we need to, a way that we can get, the upper hand in the negotiations is we are guarding this caravan. So if the dangerous place where we could have bandits hasn't even come up yet, and the risk is they lose 6 guardians of this caravan, then maybe they're willing to wait a little longer for us.
You're talking about us with the bad ideas. Like, I don't think threatening them with people leaving is going to get us in the right place
saying
either.
It could be a bargaining chip if we have need of it.
Got it. Yeah, I mean, it sounds like we're all wanting to at least figure out what's going on. Shaylun, when you go and talk to the caravan leader, can you take Rosalia with you? Rosalia is a little bit more intimidating than I think a lot of us are. I mean, I think if Rosalia, you want to go, but I think the caravan leader has already, I think she's dumb and very wrong, but doesn't think as highly of the defensive capabilities of a gnome, which is wrong. We agree. I know you could destroy a lot of us without blink, and but I think also playing to, hey, big people and her little prejudice that she has may be good. Rosalia, would you mind?
I think it would be less conspicuous if a gnome goes, because many people underestimate a gnome, but a gnome is a lot smarter than can be anticipated.
I
agree.
I feel like really proud that Rosalia said that.
All right. Well, I guess it's settled then, Shaylun.
Also, Lachlan, we know we're short. It's okay. The rest of you are just too tall. It's not your fault. It's okay.
By the way, I've been wanting to bring this up for ages, but Randy, when you went and talked to that gnome and you were like, I have gnome friends, I felt like I know black people. Like, it's so wrong.
You're right, though. I mean, people do it. It's not right. But I will be more careful of my use of that term now. Thank you for letting me know.
Home relations.
All right. So when we have time, I'll go mosey on up whenever Danny deems that time is now.
Well, everyone is starting to kind of bed down, so now is a good time, or maybe first thing in the morning is a good time. That's up to you. So unless you're doing it now,
I'll do it now because I feel very confident after the compliment from Rosalia.
Okay, very good. You move over to where the tent is that the leadership is kind of set up at. It smells pretty good over here. They have a cook that is dishing up some sort of like a curry. You feel like it is, and yeah, as you kind of approach, you see the caravan leader.
How far
Uh,
away can you smell that smell?
It's yeah, it permeates the camp almost. So
Noted.
and they do share when they have extra. So yeah, you make your way over and you see that the caravan leader notices you approach, and she kind of stands up and moves in your direction. Um,
I hold myself very tall and say, good evening. I hope you had a fine day of travel.
well enough, Shaylun, is it? Yes.
She blinks a minute, like not remembering if she's supposed to be Lampira or not, and goes, yes.
Well, other than the loss of a camel, but that tends to happen on journeys such as this. Is there something I can help you with?
Yes. Out of sheer curiosity for the journey that we are on, we've talked about the large plan of when we will arrive at our destination. But how long do we plan to stay at the oasis, and what? I'm not familiar with this this area, so what amenities are there that we could partake of?
Sulam is a rather large oasis, and it will probably be the one we stop at for the longest. There are um, goods that we actually will drop off, sell to them there, and goods that we will pick up as we purchase them. It usually takes a couple of days to finalize any of that, and also to give the other merchants of the caravan an opportunity as well to do this. So, uh, a few days when we arrive, which is probably in another day at this point, day or two. We've been making good time.
So approximately 3 days is what we'll be staying at the oasis.
Perhaps at least two, and perhaps a third. There's no rush. We'll have been a week on the road, so taking a little break is fine before we move on to the next stretch, which is a little bit longer than this one. So, I mean, unless you're in a hurry.
Very well. No, I think that we are looking forward to the break from the long days on the sand and the camels. So definitely just was asking out of sheer curiosity for what our travel agenda is.
Oh, yes. So we will be at Sunam Oasis once we arrive for 2 to 3 days. And you asked about amenities. It's a large oasis. There, we will be taking lodging there, and then inside the gates are various vendors and merchants. The water itself is clean, and sometimes people like to take recreation there. And um, there's a lodge as well for those who are interested in spending time with the Blue Joke. And I think you'll find it quite pleasant.
Excellent. I thank you for your time. And she'll give a nod like she's dismissing her and then turn to walk away.
Okay. Yeah, Norsum turns and sits back down, picks up her plate, and finishes her meal.
Oh, I totally should have, while I was having this conversation, cast Mage Hand and just taken her plate.
That feels more like a Sarah thing.
We have Snake. I don't know what you're so hungry for. It'll be fine.
All right.
I just want to show her a little what I can do. That's all.
You arrive back at the camp, but before you arrive, make a perception test.
Me?
For Shayloon? Yes.
Oh, I have a an inspiration. Is that the same thing as the gold that I got for?
No, the gold is
From Voodoo Goth, yeah.
a nat 20. So you have a inspiration and a nat 20.
Let's do that nat 20.
Ooh.
Okay. As you are walking, you hear two individuals talking about something. You're not entirely certain because it is in Ishani. And is that one of your languages?
Yeah, it is.
Sweet.
It is. It is one of your 6 languages.
I'm real smart, guys.
I'm glad this was you.
So you overhear some voices, and you kind of catch this. Well, what is he gonna do with him after? Well, I don't know. I imagine we'll leave him there. Perhaps he'll get out. We don't leave him there alive, idiot. Oh, I see. Well, very good then. Be bad to have any loose ends. And then that conversation stops as you notice the 2 guards from the last line walk past. They kind of shut up when they saw you walking their way, and then they walk past you.
I keep staring at the ground and like shuffling my feet in the sand, like I'm not paying attention as I walk. But like as I've heard this and as I notice them notice me, I go like all of the hairs on my arms and neck are like alert, and I go, okay, all right, channel your inner Panabon. What did he say about all the sneaking and how they get away with all the stuff they do? All right, and I'm gonna try to like kind of backtrack and like follow along at a distance through the crowd, and I like we're gonna see what Panabon taught me.
Oh boy!
Yes,
So excited.
Okay, well, as you are moving through the camp, sort of trying to follow these individuals, go ahead and give me that stealth or sneaking
Can I
test.
Oh my god.
You have an inspiration.
Oh, it's so exciting.
I'm gonna use that inspiration.
Yeah.
Yeah. Thank you for that inspiration.
That inspiration was quite worth it. As you get your 23, their passive perception at night is not 23. So yeah, as it goes. Let me pull one of these guys up. Okay, so real quick, I'll go ahead and give you guys an example of how these folks are dressed. They're not very friendly looking. They have some sort of like firearm that they carry, very robed. But they're both dressed the same, so quite uniformed, quite gaunt in the face. They move through the camp, just kind of talking, and eventually circle around to their own camp, where the Howdah is, and you notice this close to their camp that there's a open tent, like it's open in the front, and then about halfway in there's maybe a curtain that's drawn to the sides, and inside there's like a bed with fully made. There's like a water basin, there's a table, like it's pretty much that whole, this guy is glamping. What would the caravan travel of glamping be, right? Like glaravan, I don't know. Anyway,
like Aziz in Parks and Rec when he goes camping.
Right.
Like a
Yeah.
TV.
Yeah. It's full on. It's pretty full on. There's you notice that there's actually a few books inside on a small bookshelf. It's like 3 books, maybe room for 2 more. And before you get any ideas, you also see the individual in there sitting at the table with a book in front of himself, open, as if he's engrossed in whatever is contained within.
So now there's 3 total guys in there. The 2 that just entered and the one that was sitting there reading.
They didn't actually go in. They just, as they get to the camp, you see that that's there. They kind of go to the side of the tent and are like doing whatever their night, whatever they're doing. They are suddenly very much less interesting in terms of what they're doing than this guy sitting in his tent with all the books.
And on the walk, have I heard anything else that they've said?
No, they didn't really say anything else that you thought was important. Like they stopped talking when they saw you, and then as they went past, they started just talking up, have you been to Sulam before, and all that kind of stuff.
The last time someone I didn't exactly like had books, they were Deadomancy books. So, not about this life. So, okay, I know that where they went. I know who they're talking about. I put 1 + 1 together. It's time to go.
Okay. So you turn and head away. It takes a few moments for you to get back to the camp with the rest of you. Just as the night is, just as the watch shifts are about to start. And of course,
you
first
come
shift
back
tonight,
and like Rosalia and I are making an elaborate plan to go hide a bunch of goods.
Right. So you get back just in time for the first watch to kind of start. So Aegis and Petunia are prepping as the rest of the camp is getting ready to take their rest.
Guys!
Yeah.
I'm loudly whispering, the non-sneaky.
Yeah.
So, does everyone come over, or? All right.
I do.
So I go, all right, well, first, we're going to be staying at the Oasis for about 2 to 3 days. They said there's no rush to leave, so we've got time. But that's not what's important right now. What's important is that I saw 2 Ishani guards who are with that big, expensive guy, and they said that they're going to kill him and leave him somewhere, which, come on, we all know is the abandoned ruin. So I think they're going to use the gnome to lead them there and then kill him and do whatever they're going to do in the mine or the ruin.
Perfect. He'll be out of our way.
No, what's wrong with you?
Aegis.
They're probably going to sacrifice him to whatever dark god they're
Aegis. I look over at Aegis and I go, he's part of the caravan. You're supposed to keep him alive.
Yeah, remember, we don't get paid, buddy.
Wait. Are we sure they're still part of the caravan at that point? Aren't they getting
Yes.
off?
Yes,
Okay,
they are still
we're
part
a
of the
really
caravan.
nice gnome, guys.
You are all terrible.
I'm trying to be on your side. Our group just fights a lot. I love it. We have only been together not even a week yet. So
Okay, obviously we don't want the gnome to die. Aegis may be
Right.
excluded.
yeah. Aegis, we should help the gnome. It's the right thing to do.
I see the point you make.
And why would they want to know about this ruin? Have someone guide them to it just to kill them. That means they know something or doing something that's not right.
Yes.
Because otherwise, you just pay them and that's all you need. But they're trying to make sure nobody knows about this ruin. Why?
It appears we have found what would make Shaylun passionate about this subject.
Well, Shaylun, I think you're right. Exactly like I said, we need to follow these guys down there.
I
Say that
think
again?
Deadomancers.
This term you always use, deadomancy. When a cell dies, it is called necrosis. Would it not be more logical to call it something like necrocasting?
I want to hug Roland so much. I can't. I go, call it whatever you like, but they're bad guys.
So hey, Lachlan, since you're best buds with this gnome guy character, could you find out what the terrain for this mine looks like that we're going to be going into? That's going to take us underground in places where there are mysterious ruins. Like, do you think you could?
Are you afraid of mines?
Have you ever been underground for a long period of time? Like where there's no sky? Like
it makes a
things
lot
are
more
very,
sense.
very. It's one of those things where it's like the opposite of being tall. I'm just saying, like,
all right.
If we believe there's a good possibility there's a trap, I'm just saying, like, I'm just
no. I definitely think there's probably traps.
Very likely, like, there are thieving guilds that really like being underground, and let me tell you, it's not a party. So I'm just letting you know, going in here, we're walking into something that is likely very bad, and that gnome is not the gnome of my priority. I am the gnome of my priority at that point. So just letting you know my thought process going in to this mysterious mine in the middle of the desert that we don't know anything about.
All right. Panabon first. I think we've got to the point where we, as a group, have decided we are watching each other's backs. So if we're going in this mine, it's all of us there to take care of each other. That I will promise you, I will do whatever I can, like I said before, to make sure that we all get out of there safe. So
And
that shouldn't be
Panabon,
a problem.
If you're really worried about going down underground, maybe we can have you as a lookout. Like, I'm not trying to get trapped in a mine either. Like, we can figure this out.
Okay. Like, I'm gonna go. I'm not enthused about it, but like, I'm not. Oh gosh, what's the term? A coward. So it's fine. I'm sure they're not planning on sacrificing that poor gnome to whatever dark thing lives in that ruin. I'm sure that's not a thing, because that's totally not a thing Melfrin would have done. I'm sure it's fine.
They didn't say sacrifice. They just said leaving him behind so that. Anyway.
Okay. Sure, we'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be fine. It'll be good. It'll be good time. It'll be
just
good.
to let you know, it is okay to be afraid of something. Having a fear is not bad.
You're not afraid. Fear things. It's fine. It's fine. It's
all right.
It's good. It's good. We're good. Good time.
I'm just letting you know it is okay. All right.
First, I have several questions following up to this new discovery. First of all, I wonder how far away the abandoned ruin is from the oasis. How long is it going to take us just to travel there? Yeah. Secondly, do you know?
No. I didn't get that from Livid.
Secondly, I think we could discuss whether or not to let Livid know and maybe have him align with us instead.
Or, I would say we be careful letting him know. He didn't quite seem to be the most, the best at keeping secrets, because he gave me a fair bit of information.
I side-eye Panabon. And third, Panabon, I know all this is super terrible and scary, but you have a very specific skill set. And if we are going to go in here, it would be helpful to know what we might be facing. And the big, scary, expensive man had books with him that might tell us what to expect. So if there's an opportunity, I mean, you know I don't condone, but...
You want me to steal books? I get to steal something!
I mean, it's not wrong if he's already a bad guy stealing. It's like Robin Hood. Is that what's the equivalent in this? It's
whatever you
make up.
Whatever you make up right now, go.
It's like Stephen Bowler Hat.
Bone what?
Stephen what?
Bowler Hat.
Bowler
Hat. Stephen Bowler Hat. That is now a thing.
I have heard that tale. It is a noble tale.
I have a follow-up question, Shay. I have a follow-up question. If he's really a bad guy, does he need his pinky? Like, am I allowed to take a pinky too, or just?
I think it's a lot more noticeable to take his pinky. So I think, no murder, no stabbing, only stealing in this particular quest. Let's not call it something besides stealing that just feels yucky.
So I'm okay with this, but Panabon, this is really serious. All right? We don't know how powerful this man is. If there's any chance that he could catch you, you run. Leave the book where it is, you run. All right?
Okay.
I want you to only make this attempt if it's 100% safe. Because if he does have powerful books, Shaylin, like, we gotta be careful.
Panabon and I have traveled a lot, and we know how to work well together. So, Panabon, you know how it can support you from a distance, and also you could take Minya, and Minya could let you know when the coast is clear, when the tent is empty, or when he's sleeping, or whatever. So, Minya's signals.
Also, it occurs to you that Panabon and Shaylun are sharing the mid-guard shift, so.
It sounds like we got a plan then.
Try your best not to cause death.
I will try. I will promise you the highest promise Panabon has. I will promise you that I will give up my fan club presidency of Nagatu Sanatu if I fail.
That literally means nothing to me.
Nugatsa Sanatu is a famous gnome that is basically the Tesla of the world. So,
do I know that?
You would.
Oh God, you better run.
Another time. I'll tell you about them another time. They're really cool. They do things with cords. There's electricity. It's really cool. Well, I'll tell you. There's copper wire. It's great. It's influenced my whole life. It'll change your life. It'll be great. It's like having a god. God does things. I'll tell you about it. It'll be really cool.
What about now? There's a call from afar. It is Ogelia basically saying, "Where the hell is my first shift?"
Just come on.
Right.
I run over.
Yep.
Okay.
Present.
Yeah.
Okay. I was just wondering. You were running a little behind, but we're retiring now. So, and she turns and leaves you to your guard shift. At the camp, once Perunia and Aegis have left, do you continue discussing the thing, or do you guys turn in, or what's going on over there?
I have learned to get my sleep, so I will tell Shaylun and Panabon good night for the evening. If they need me, they know how to reach me. They know where I'm sleeping.
Okay. With that, the camp quiets down. Rosalia enters her meditative trance, and Perunia and Aegis are on shift, cruising around the camp.
Oh, we're cruising around the camp. Okay.
Yeah.
I instruct Aegis on how to do a shift on a caravan in a camp.
Oh, your viewpoint on guarding is very interesting and valuable to me. He says with a straight face, only half listening to you.
Brunia's not sure what to make of Aegis. Like, we haven't spent a lot of time together yet, and she looks at you half suspicious of was that sarcasm? And she truly cannot tell with you. She continues on her camel. This is pretty awkward, yeah.
Oh yeah. So
wait, are you guys? Oh, sorry, my volume is down. Were you saying something in my direction?
No, you're good.
Okay.
So previous to this, our last session, I thought that we were all kind of sitting around guarding, but you're saying we're on actual patrol?
not like a patrol. It's not a patrol so much as you're not sitting in one place guarding. Like you'll stop, sit, and then you'll move, and then you'll come around. It's not like you're having to range out far. It's just making sure that nothing bad's happening.
Oh, okay. So then on one of our settled kind of returns, I am brewing a tea. It's floral, not strong in stench like the other one was. Would you care for a cup of tea?
I don't normally have tea on guard shift, so you do that and I'll stay on guard. Yeah.
It is simple just to say no, thank you.
Sure.
So I start sipping this very calming tea.
I'm very concerned that he just doesn't understand fire guard.
Oh, I have a cup.
I have my hand on my sword, so.
Have you given any thought to working with me again at another one of your fights?
I mean, I try to figure out what's the most fair way to do it. I know that the last person I fought definitely had some magical zip, but down in the mines, we were never to use magic in a fight, so I don't know how I feel about it, if I'm going to be honest.
Back in the Mercenaries Guild in Chaituating, I had some experience in assisting warriors in their fights that we did for fun. It is just through training and the support of my medical skills that I think that I could help you be effective in battle.
You mean working out to make your muscles stronger like you do in the mornings?
That is one method.
She nods. I do calisthenics, not quite like you do. But yes, mostly I lift heavy things.
I may also be able to concoct some sort of herbal assistance for battles. I would more or less be a coach for your health.
Bruni is not sure about this, but she doesn't want to be rude to the person who's new to our party. And so I go, yes, we will have to try that.
I kind of smile and sit back and sip on my tea some more. Good. I look forward to it.
I scan the horizon. One of us needs to actually keep guard. I don't say that. I think that.
And so it goes for that shift, and eventually it does become time to wake the gnomes for them to take their own shift.
Okay. And then I think when they take their shift, since I know that they need to go do sneaky stuff, I can stay up a while longer, so we still get a guard in place.
Okay, sounds good.
And I have not been sleeping. I've been planning and writing and okay, first we'll do this, then we'll do that. So I've not been resting.
Understood. Okay.
And I'm in my Pockern outfit, except for I have done a mask that is coded to the colors of the desert at night. So it's a deep purple blue. So it's pretty effective camouflage because it's something I'm good at. If you want me to roll,
but we're not exposed to that form of you, right?
Well, no, and you're asleep, so you're not gonna know.
We just did a shift change.
Okay, well, if you choose to see me or not see me, as it were.
I mean, we came to trade off with you guys. So if you got up and had that on when you met us, we would probably see you, unless you didn't want to be seen.
You have seen you've seen Pockern in action before at the warehouse with the creature that when you guys fought it a few days ago. So
yeah, we just aren't aware that Panabon changes who they feel like they are.
Yeah,
but is there a major visual difference?
It's just a change of clothes. It's like putting on a black outfit for sneaking in the night.
Oh, okay. Trying to offer you an opportunity to animate that. That's all.
So there are different class features associated with the two forms, if you will, but Panabon hasn't really dove into those yet in a way that anyone has seen.
Cool.
And I don't think I should do that tonight. This seems like that would maybe draw more attention than we potentially want. A little bit.
So Petunia offers to stay up for a while as Panabon and Shay make their way, or
yeah. So as we're walking, I'm talking very hurriedly and quietly at Panabon and saying, "All right, here's what I've got prepared if you need. I have the mage hand, so if you need, we can snatch it and run, and you can distract them, and I'll grab the book from behind you. And then I can also do the unseen servant and have it on standby. So again, if something goes bad, we can still sneak in after the fact and grab it, like while you are diverting the soldiers. So make sure just do what you need to get away, and I'll handle the rest. And then I've got hold person, so if anyone does catch you, I can try to stop them before they actually get hands on you or cast anything naughty at you. And then also, I've been working on this thing called absorb elements. So if they cast something that's elemental towards you, if they have that ability, since we don't know, I can absorb that and reflect it back at them at the next one. I've also got the sparkle darts ready, so don't worry. I've got the shield ready, so if we're running, just make sure that you're between me and the bad guys, and that way I can reflect some of that damage if they hit me. And then also I have that ability, if I get in trouble, to teleport a little ways away, and I'll try to teleport behind something so that I'm hidden, so you can keep running, right?
We've really got to get you a black outfit.
as you are kind of arriving near the camp, you see that the tent is now closed up. There's still the open kind of front half of the area. It's a large tent. But the curtains are closed. The two guards are standing, one on either side. You don't see any sign of the gnome, and it seems odd to you that the two guards are still up and standing there, given that there's only the two guards. They travel all day, and they're up all day. Now they're up in the middle of the night.
And they're only in the front of the tent, right? They're not...
They are only in the front of the tent.
So is there room behind the tent?
There is plenty of room behind the tent.
So I could just slice a little bit into the canvas and slip into the tent unseen.
Seems like that is probably a thing you could do.
Do it along the seams so that they don't notice.
Now I'm going into thumbs up. Thumbs up is yes.
Okay.
I also I'm thinking as I'm like looking at the soldiers too, I'm like, they're either really tired or perhaps it could be magic. Maybe there's an illusion going on. But now's not the time to investigate. So I'm supporting Panabon.
Yep. Don't think about them potentially being deadomancy. Don't think about it.
Also, Panabon, you have an inspiration.
Oh, fun.
That's a terrible sign to say deadomancy.
It'll keep you sharp and focused. It'll be fine.
It's like me bringing up the tongue demon thing.
All right. Oh, wait, I'm not there.
Wow.
Okay. Sweet. I have an inspiration, so I'm going to Pink Panther my way down to the back of the tent.
Okay, so you move around towards the back of the tent, giving probably wide berth. You pull out your dagger. Yes? Your dagger?
Yes, I pull out my dagger.
All right.
To cut. And I guess I'm going to cut with... Do I use a skill? Is this a...
So the cutting itself will just be cutting. The skill that you're going to use is to cut quietly with your sneaking stealth.
And I'm like also standing back there and casting all of my preparation stuff. We don't have to do it.
Okay.
I just want to make sure it's ready.
13.
Is that stealthy enough?
You do also have inspiration.
I would.
Oh, right.
Yeah, you have inspiration if you want to re-roll. I can't tell you if it's stealthy enough before you roll the inspiration or not.
Yeah, I'm gonna use the inspiration just in case. Just in case.
Okie doke.
Better.
All right.
Better.
You cut into the tent, and as the flap kind of lifts aside, you see the fellow sleeping in his bed, breathing quietly. There are a couple of candles that are burning low. You see the shelf where there are 3 books.
Do the candles give off any sort of shadow that I should worry about?
They are. One is positioned up near the front, so opposite of you, and one is positioned on the table itself. So as long as you don't cross the other side to the other side of the table, which is fine because the shelves are in the back. So the little shelf.
Okay. So for Sarah, did we decide that we want me to grab the books, or am I just looking at the covers?
You're grabbing the
Back
books.
at the covers. Grabbing the books. Okay.
Yeah. And you also
So-
know from traveling with me that if you need me to, I can snuff the candles. So it's up to you if you communicate that or not.
Okay. I'm not going to worry about the candles then. So I'm going to take some books. I'm crouched. Or, well, I guess. Yeah, I guess I'm crouched. Let's go with that.
Okay.
And then I'm going to steal some books.
Okay.
Good
You
time.
take a book. You look. Nothing happens. You take another book. And you take a third book. Nothing seems to happen.
Sweet. And then I exit the back of the tent.
Out you go.
Sweet. And I bring the books to Shay, away from the menacing Shadowmancer guards.
I'm like, my heart is pounding, and I'm like, all right, let's get back to the camp. I'll take some of the books, and we'll carry them together. And well, actually, I can, depending on how big they are, I can fit at least one in my satchel. So, we'll scurry
All right.
back, and then have to be on guard duty, and my adrenaline is totally going right now. So.
All right. So you rush back with the books, feeling a little exhilarated, and the rest of you take the time to do the guard shift, even though really what Shailene wants to do is read the books.
Really bad.
So she's very relieved when it's time for the next shift, and she wakes up Lachlan and Rosalia comes out of her trance at about this time. So, Panabon, are you going to bed?
I am actually. Is Shay staying up to read the books? Is that what's happening?
Yes, she is. Just
Okay.
give me my level of exhaustion.
Any book that you're not reading, I'm actually going to hide, so that you know where they are, but that the books are hidden.
Yeah.
Unless you want to like.
I do want to. Before when I get woken up, can I just say that we need to hide them, so that when he realizes that books have been taken and they are looking for them, they can't find them. I just say that, and
so my idea in the morning is to just like throw them into the desert, and hope that translates. But I don't know if that's a good idea or not. But we'll see.
Okay. So you stow the 2 books that she's not reading. She has the book that she is reading, and then Panabon, you go to bed.
And the book that I'm reading, I'm going to, anytime anyone is around, so in the night, I'm not necessarily going to do it unless I see someone coming, but I'm going to cast Prestidigitation to change the color of the book, so it doesn't look like the book.
and I say to Shay, that was really hard not to leave my calling card. I just want to let you know how much self-control that took. And then I
totally didn't stab that guy.
Just leave a calling card.
I'm honestly so excited that went off without any kind of bad effect happening yet. That like, as like we're exchanging the books back at the camp and stuff, and we've woken Lox and Rosalia, and I go, you did wonderful, Panabon, and I grab his ears and kiss his forehead, kiss their forehead.
Ah,
That's cute.
okie dokie. Well, there seems to be that bit of excitement, but yeah, afterwards, Panabon goes to bed. Is a question that I'm asking.
No, yeah, Panabon is in the book.
Okay, Panabon goes to bed. All right. Yes.
That was
Shaylin
unnecessary.
is staying up all night. Got it. Petunia stayed up a little bit longer. Got it. Aegis went right to bed. Okay, so
Right to bed.
it's quiet at the camp. Lox and Rosalia. We are nearing the end of the session show, but I don't want to rush you too. So that is the third guard shift. Take your time. Take the time that you need.
So probably when we've done around the camp, and when we get that moment of just sort of settling in, I would look over at Rosalie and I would be like, so I hope we could talk a little bit. Is that okay?
Julia is a little bit tired from the day.
Mm-hmm.
She's open to talking, but she's definitely not feeling like that trance was enough for her to stay awake. So she's there and she'll have the conversation, but she's definitely half her mind is back home and then the other half is there.
All right. Rosalia, something I wanted to talk about was I know you said your magic comes from somewhere else. Is there I'm in a similar predicament, it seems. Not bad necessarily, but from a power that I don't really understand. Do you how much do you know about where yours come from?
When you say a power that you don't understand, what
Yeah.
is your power?
Some time ago, when me and my companions were all on the verge of death, a voice came to me and granted me the power to sort of save us in that situation. At the same time, that voice has been asking me to help free them. I know that they're called Vat Kaka. I don't know if that means anything to you.
Are you human?
Yeah. And before all of this, I had no access to magic or any desire to.
You worship other gods.
I don't worship any gods, which is probably why this is a bit more confusing. In a way, I made a deal with this power, and they granted me the strength to sort of try to go along and do something with it, but I'm still trying to figure it out.
What did you say their name was?
Vat Kaka.
Is there anything in your history that is similar? Has anybody ever had that experience? Or are you the first?
It's the first that I've ever heard of it, and that I've ever heard of it with my people. I was wondering if maybe your knowledge of this magic stuff could give me any insight.
Sorry, there's some pressure behind my eyes. I don't know. It's starting when you started saying that thing, and it's getting worse. I don't know.
Oh wow!
What it means.
All right.
Just the pressure.
All right. I'll lay off it, but this being, this woman, I believe she was elven. So even if I can't say it, just know
I'm still trying to figure out this. Where does your power come from?
It came from the same way as you. Some being that I take their power in exchange for something, giving them something. I don't know what. It sounds just like yours, but I don't know if it's an elven power. I think it's a very deep, ancient power, and the name is Morgan. That's all I know. Morgan.
All right. It sounds like we're two people heading in the same direction.
I don't know why an elf would give you her power if you're a human.
I don't even know if it was like a person. It seemed much more powerful than that. And I don't want to say the name again because I don't want to bother you more than it seems to already have done. But for some reason, do you hear that? It sounds like wings, like the wings of a crow. That's what I hear whenever they're around. That's the signs that I've been following to get here.
So it's like your spirit animal, maybe.
Maybe theirs. If you've ever seen me shoot, it's kind of similar to the animal that comes out of the gun, like a shadow. I don't know if this entity is good or bad. I just know that they are very powerful.
So then you get some sudden inspiration. Well, maybe we should test our powers, like have a shooting range. Like you take out your gun and summon your crow, and I'll take out my weapons and I'll summon Morgan you, and we'll see who's the better shooter.
I'd be down for that. I don't know if that would necessarily solve our problem. I just how about we do that? Because I mean, you know more than I do. What is that? I'm sorry. This is the most I've ever had sounds from them.
What are they saying? Are they telling you not to speak?
They're not telling me anything, and that's the frustrating part.
Maybe
all it is birds flapping wings and crows cawing.
Maybe we should have a summoning game and see who can summon our deity the fastest.
I wish I had that kind of control. Rosalie, I don't know if I'm gonna get more understanding of this tonight, but I want you to know, if you find out any more about your entity, and if I find out any more that I can share, I feel like there's something going on for both of us to have had that experience, even if I am just a human, right?
Maybe they're in cahoots.
Maybe
your deity knows my deity and they've already talked, and that's why we're on this journey together.
Yeah.
It's a conspiracy, but who knows? It could be true.
I just wanted to say, I'm still learning just like you, but I'm glad to be fighting with you because you can do some crazy stuff.
Do you think this deity can drive a human crazy? Do you think it could drive you mad?
At this point, no. Just wish the signs were more clear sometimes. Wish that they would tell me what they want so I can do it. I just feel like I'm going in a circle, but looks like I'm just gonna keep hearing birds. And I think probably at that, Locke just sort of zones out and he's just like, thanks for having this conversation with me, Rosalia. Even if we didn't figure it out, it's good to know that we're kind of dealing with the same thing.
Rosalia just starts to see her and Locke shooting at target practice to see whose deity is the coolest, and kind of zones off into the distance.
Nice.
All right. With that, the sun starts to rise over the mountains in the east. It's odd because there's a general lightening, but the sun isn't shining directly on you, and you can see in to the west in the horizon as the line of light over the mountains kind of approaches you, slowly at first, but more and more quickly as the sun peaks up over those mountains. The rest of the camp is stirring and preparing for the next day of travel, and of course everybody rises, prepares. I need Perunia and Panabon to make Constitution saving throws. Shayloon is at exhaustion level 1 for the day, but she is quite excited at what she has read, and will tell everybody all about it next week when we return for Like Clockwork. Please join us. Thank you so much for visiting with us and going through this tale with us. Thank you so much to the cast for their characterization and just everything that they've been doing, and of course everyone that's watching, and thank you so much for Tom.
Thanks, Tom.
We're trying some new things, getting the pictures up so that you can see them in a way that makes more sense. That's Tom's doing, not mine. I'm just like, pictures, and Tom's like, if you want people to see pictures. So it's important to him that everything runs smoothly, so you can't ask for anything more than that. So with that, of course, the standard end of show, Rem Alternus, that's us. You can catch us at remalternus.com. We have a Patreon, we have a Facebook page, we have a Twitter, we have all those things, Instagram and stuff, and we have streams throughout the week. Monday night is our Dresden stream. Tuesday night we have Shadowrun Missions, which is 5th edition Shadowrun, going through the live shows. Wednesday night we take a night off. Thursday night, but even though we take a night off,
so I was doing a show over on Saving Throw Show, and we're going to come back for a season 2. So right now we're taking a little break, but we will be back over there. So if you are free on Wednesday nights and you are looking for something to do, back in it's March, April, probably towards the middle of April, we'll be back. So
that means keep your Wednesday nights free so you can do that. Thursday nights we have Descent. Is that Descent on Thursday, or is that that's Storm Kings?
Thursday is
keep your Wednesday nights free so you can.
I just unmuted Twitch. Sorry. Thursdays is our all LGBTQ plus cast for D&D Episodicals 3, which is playing Stormlord's Wrath, which is the sequel to Dragon of Icefire Peak, which just ended.
And Friday, we try to have our community game night. If you join us on our Discord, we'll let you know what we're playing. Usually that's on Tabletop Simulator. We all get together and play together. And Saturday, are we done then? We just finished that, so we're waiting.
Episodicals 2 just ended, and that was the Dragon of Icefire Peak. So now Episodicals 4 is starting this Saturday with the first session, and that is Descent into Avernus, and that's our predominantly black cast.
And that's our 10 a.m. Show on Saturday. So we got a lot going on. Please join us. I believe in about a week. Next week, is it next weekend? When is our stream?
Our stream-a-thon is April 10th. It's going to be, I want to say 36 hours of gaming. And we're doing lots of stuff that we haven't done before. A lot of our community is running games, and it's super exciting. So hang out with us for way too many.
Yeah, and find us on Discord. Join us on Discord. We love to have everybody there. We're building a community that's very diverse and inclusive. And like I said, we have community game nights. We have a casting call where we do one-offs and stuff, and we're looking for people in the community that just want to come play games with us, because that's what we love to do. So without further ado, unless anyone has anything, then we bid you adieu.
Bye.